I think that leaving the classroom and going out into the community helps the students to make the connection between their learning and the real world. So anytime that I can take them out of the classroom and have them interact with authentic works of art or meet artists or create murals in front of the public where the public is interacting with them and asking questions, I think that it makes the learning more valuable to them. They see the relationship between school and the community.
Hey!
When I first began a unit, I think almost all of my units began very teacher-centered, where I set it all up, plan out exactly how it's going to begin, what kinds of resources I'm going to use. As the students get more and more into a unit, I began to give up more and more of the teacher control and began to offer the students choices to make so that every student in my class does not come up with the exact same product, the exact same thing at the end of it. If I have 30 students in a class, I would potentially like to have 30 different responses and 30 different solutions to the problem. So to do that, I have to give up a little control and give it over to them and have them make some choices. The idea of the lawn paintings grew out of us looking at how artists from the Renaissance and before the Renaissance copied each other, borrowed from each other. Artists in studios would actually meticulously emulate a master and try to paint exactly like them. And the contemporary idea of borrowing ideas from other creative sources. And so a musician might be inspired by another musician, or a writer might be inspired by a writer, or an artist inspired by another artist. And in the past 10 or 15 years, we've had many lawsuits and lots of things in the news about, well, that's my idea, or I wrote that, or that was my, concept for a movie. And so when is an idea original? And can any idea really be original, or are we all a composite of all the things that have come before us and that we've experienced in our own personal lifetime, and everything that came before us in history? One of the misconceptions students have about art is that it's this object or this thing that they can own or buy or hold and keep, or it's in a museum, and it's permanent. So I sort of blended those two concepts together of borrowing an idea from history, we call it appropriation, and that an artwork doesn't necessarily have to be a permanent object or something you can buy, hold, or keep, that it could actually be a process that you played a part of. So I started having the students look for all the different ways that they see ideas being used in commercials. We looked at how artworks have been appropriated, and then I sent them out on their own journey, letting them go off on their own to come up with a famous painting. You want to choose one that you think a lot of people in the public will recognize, because we're doing this in a very public forum. Then I asked them, now you can't just borrow it exactly, you have to change it. Because that's what appropriation is taking an idea and altering it, making it your own.
American Gothic by Grant Wood is probably one of the most well-known paintings in the United States. So the students pick that, and they know that those two figures stand for pretty traditional Midwestern American values. And we're in Florida, being part of the pop culture, they thought they'd just jazz the painting up a little bit and make the gentleman in American Gothic holding a surfboard and let his wife be wearing a bikini. And then today, as the lawn painting unfolded, they decided to give her a belly button ring and really update it. I think that they translated well the idea that Grant Wood was representing American values. They translated it to their values.
The lawn painting exercise with my students, I really have three major goals. One is that they go off on a research journey for the artwork. And the second one is they have to do an appropriation, and I want them to do something very personal and clever that people might even laugh at. And the third one is pulling it off as a team. It's an artwork that you really can't do by yourself. And we put it out here on the lawn where the public will stumble across it in a place they wouldn't normally see art. And it's not something anybody can own. It's just very temporary. It's going to last for a day or two. And pretty much if you missed it, you missed it. You had to be there. So I just combined all those elements together.